part four. This time taking place on the same day as part three. Literally, I finished part three a few hours ago, but for you guys it might be a day later. It's a dry day, mostly today. A bit of rain that we had early in part three, but tomorrow's going to be dreadful. So I'm going to be inside doing editing. Life of a YouTuber, eh? Let's have a look at what else we can take off this car and what I've been doing off camera after I turn the camera off part three. Right, we're racing ahead. I've left the oil to still drain, so the oil's still coming out, but it looks a bit cleaner, doesn't it? I have just done some degreasing using just a degreasing spray and then the hose to just hose off. It's all sort of dried off a little bit, still a bit dirty under there, but overall it's looking a lot drier, which is what you want. I've just gone over the front and look at it. Just the odd scab here and there. I'm not going to go through the whole thing of respraying, and it wouldn't look right. That is the sort of component. I mean, some people would argue now's the best time to have a go. I'm just going to clean that up and make sure nothing is terminal. I might sort of do some rust protection on bits like that. But I've just taken this wiring from these little clips. So this wiring here that comes from this side, it goes into the horn, and then some of it goes to the starter. So basically you've got the positive cable from the battery going down here onto the starter, and then there's another positive cable that goes to the alternator. So actually, if you've got a problem with both your starter and your alternator, earth cable problem, positive earth cable, we have an earth cable that goes here to a typical place at the front of the gearbox. Usually these are used as earth points. I think on the Beatrix it's that thread, but in this one it's this one. So we're going to crack that earth off. It's really important that that earth is clean, because the gearbox, mainly for this, the only electronic component is the starter inhibitor switch. That will rely on a good earth point to the battery tray. And the battery trays even come up nicely as well. It's really, really nice to see. And I don't even think I have to sort that out either. It just looks fine. It will be deep cleaned a little bit more. I want to get some things out of the way first. The main thing is I've undone, as you can see, the two cooler pipes. They're now in the house. There's a few bits and pieces we're going to take off. But mainly, there is a bit of a sort of oil leakage towards the back side of the gearbox. So what I'm going to probably do, well, first of all, I'm just going to replace the oil cap, because I'm a bit concerned that we don't want random stuff going in there. Okay, now we're going to pull the leads, take the dizzy off. The dizzy is held in with two clamp bolts, and it is literally that. That's it, and it will just slide off the dog drive from the camshaft. The camshaft drives the mechanical fuel pump and the distributor basically at the same time. You've got a dog gear, an eccentric lobe that goes to the pump, that pumps the pump. Yeah, it's a good pun, that is. And drives the dizzy as well. So we're going to take all that off and get this in the house. So I'm going to keep the leads connected where they are for the moment. I've got the King lead here. I might want to bring the King lead this side of the kickdown. The kickdown cable is getting in the way, but we can't do anything about that. So we'll start and take that off first, and then a few bits and pieces around here. Might take the horn off in a few areas. Underneath, I've had a really good clean up. You can see here, I have cleaned kind of down there. Just a couple of areas I've missed. I want to really get it nice and clean. We want it degreased. I don't want it greasy. I've had a go at the sump as well, and we have managed to crack that off. A H7 has actually cracked that off with an impact gun. They're very, very tight. There's a lot of oil still. It's just disgusting. It's like a blooming tray, this cross member. Taking it out might be difficult, because we're going to have to support the gearbox, as I said, on this part here potentially. It could be tricky, but overall I'm going to keep on degreasing. But it looks really good under here. There's nothing much to see. There's no subframe to corrode or anything. It's looking fantastic. This one by one. Come on. There we go. Very nice indeed. Good. Just pull that on. Could be a bit stiff. Just give it a good wiggle. Don't try not to pull on the lead, try and pull on the boot if possible. There we go. And we've got just like a tie thing on the rocker cover. Right, so we can just move them there. Now using a 10mm spanner, just take the 2 clamp bolts off. There we go. Now in situ, as I showed you in part, well, I think it would have been part 1 or part 2, part 3 possibly, there is a notch that is cast into the distributor and the side of the block. So that is where the timing was set up in the factory, so you will always know where to place the dizzy. That is a very good thing in some respects. And the other one is at the bottom here, just on the other side. There we go. There we go. And to set the timing up in the factory, all they'd have done is that. There we go. Timing's been completely lost. That's it. That's all it is. Well, you won't, because you'll just line the marks up and tighten the clamps. But I'm going to go with super unleaded fuel, which means I could possibly advance the timing a little bit. We'll see about that in the future. I'm just going to, just little bolts like this, quite oily, which probably helps from the rocker cover. There we go, just these 2, and the whole thing comes off. Well, hey, now, other thing I forgot, there's a vacuum pipe that connects to the vacuum diaphragm. Okay, it connects to there, and it is basically to advance the timing. That is it. That's what that vacuum pipe is. That vacuum pipe goes all the way to the carb. It takes an inlet vacuum from the carb into that. But that is it. It is driven by, it's basically a dog drive. It's as simple as that. And it is driven by there. I'll actually bring the camera in so you can see. But yeah, all good. We'll move that on the side. As you can see, we have a sort of dog drive over here. Can you see that? Whoops-a-daisy. See, we have a notch from the camshaft, and it is a dog drive. It's literally, that's what we call a dog drive. So now that is completely disconnected. How easy was that? Just love old cars. I'm going to keep all that together. The HT leads, you won't really confuse them too much, but I will mark them before I take them off inside the house. That's another job done, and took 2 seconds. And yeah, we've got a bit of oil coming out, but that's usual with these things. But that's all good. Right, just move that vacuum pipe, by the way. This vacuum pipe that goes all the way to the dizzy. There's a valve there that stops. I think one of them's a valve to control the airflow going to the diaphragm. That diaphragm basically advances the timing when you are accelerating, because in the bottom of the dizzy there are what we call bob weights, centrifugal weights that push out and they advance the timing. Very clever, but very simple. But this vacuum line goes, oh god, come on, which one is it? There's a few of them. Here, this is the one, and it will just pull off. I'm going to try and just put it in my hand. Just keep wiggling, keep wiggling. Oh, why is it not coming off? It seems a bit reluctant to move off, but I'll just pull this up so you can see. Right, so basically, this is what it is. Now this is what we call a carb trap. Now it's basically to stop any fuel that could go down that pipe this way. So one side says carb and one side says dizzy. The dizzy side always goes on the dizzy side of the line. And then that is basically a restriction trap, a little basic valve to sort of control the airflow going to the diaphragm, the vacuum diaphragm. That will control the acceleration of the car, because ultimately the timing will advance before top dead center. The spark needs to happen a little bit more early as you accelerate. Very technical that is, but I'll explain that in detail soon. So we've got another vacuum pipe out the way. Wow, we've got all this room. We've got some sort of a crankcase hose, which I'm going to take off in a bit, but I'm going to do a little bit more cleaning. But the next thing really I would like to do is just to take all this wiring off. So I think we're going to start. Now, I can't really take that wiring off the alternator, but what I can do is I can disconnect the alternator wiring from the starter motor. It looks like a 13mm. This is just a Lucar connector on the solenoid itself. So just pull it off. There we go. It's just basically like the one that was on there, but this one hasn't disintegrated. So I'll just pull that off. So that's free. Now we need to just take that 13mm bolt out. Use the ratchet spanner. I have sprayed this with WD-40 because we don't want accidents. Well, it would help if I actually loosened it rather than actually tightened it, but that wasn't actually that tight. No, that wasn't tight at all. All these connections are going to be clean because my experience of starter motors is, yeah, mostly not good. Mainly bad connections. That doesn't look too bad to me, so I'm just going to pop that there, and that should come straight off. There you go. That is now free. So I'm just going to move that there, take this wiring, and just put this whole bunch of loom down here. And the next one really is this. Now I want to detach the horn, honestly. There is a connector. There we go. Just take. Oh, that connector looks really dirty on that. So I'll just move that as well. So that's the horn. Again, you know, I'm going to refer to my own videos where all this wiring goes. So just detach that. Just loosen that. Take the whole thing out now. It won't drop off because you've got these sort of lugs that it sits on, so you go sort of hook it out that way. There we go. We know the horn works, but we're going to give it a bit of a clean up, and that connector just doesn't look very good. So again, just try and keep all the bolts nicely together. That would be ideal. And these two, well, I know for a fact that where they go, but I probably don't want to lose them. Good. That's the second thing off today. That looks really good. But what we need to do now is just pop the rest of this starter. Look at that. That's dirty. I mean, that's the backside. That's not clean. That, guys, is not clean. That's not going to get you a good connection to your solenoid. Now, we've got the earth. Now, this is an earth that goes up there. Okay. And the second half of it goes there, although I'm going to need a star bit for that for some reason. Whether that's been taken off, I don't know. But that looks like a 13mm bolt, and I'll try and get that off with a ratchet. You have got to be careful because this bolt isn't just for the earth point, it goes through. It's actually it's one of the 3 starter motor bolts. We are in a position where we can take the starter motor out, to be fair. If we can get this bolt out, all I need to do is get the other 2 out. Now I've had to come from the bottom side. Ideally, this isn't a very good position, but the earth point is moving. It is moving just about. There we go. Oh God, this is so slow. This is unbelievably slow. But you got to go slow if you keep hitting the bulkhead. Yes, but sorry, neighbours. Just love the simplicity of this car. And before anybody asks, this car spent most of its life in Essex, it's an Essex car, Essex registration, serviced by Rates Ford in Essex, and until very recently it went to Kent with Rob, the last owner, who you're going to see, because he has an amazing collection of cars, and believe you me, it's worth seeing. That whole thing now has come out, so I'm going to keep that bolt kind of in there. I'm going to actually try and put that bolt slightly back in. I just don't want to lose the bolt. Actually, it only threads in that way, so actually I might just consider putting that there in that earth, because I don't really want to be losing half of this. So that's out now, and that's all free. This basically the feeder from the battery is free. It's a T30, Andrew. Underestimated the size again. It's quite, yeah, it's not tight. I did put plenty of penetrating fluid, plenty of plus gas on this. There we go. Out it comes. We have an earth point now. Put that bolt straight back in there. That's not clean at all. I don't like that at all. That's cleaner. That's decent. But that's not. Not happy with that at all, so wrap that around. So that's that side sorted. Now I've got to get a screwdriver in. Oh, there we go. Oh, that was easy. There we go. Free. The whole thing pulls out in one big lump with that bolt there. Don't lose that bolt. Brilliant. I'll keep that as a complete lube. Okay, brilliant. Right, this single bolt that I forgot, because you could lose that, I'm going to put that straight back on the starter motor. We are going to get this starter motor out for a couple of reasons. One, it will allow me to lock the engine to get that crankshaft bolt out. There's no way of locking, because it's a single cam, there's no way of locking it apart from that. And the truth be told, I've got the tool that I don't need to do that for, but since it's coming out anyway, because I want to know how good that starter motor is, and I hope that this is a good diary for the next owner, because I've said this before on my channel. You are merely the custodian of a car like this, and as good as this. You're merely the custodian. I am merely doing my homework for me, so I can have fun in this car, and to benefit the next owner. And yeah, this is going to be a good diary, a good sales advert for the next owner. I've always said that. I keep saying that. I've barely started my ownership. Now, this is... I want to get this off. Yeah, it's a 10mm, so I'll just swap this over. Now, I have put, again, plenty of oh, that's easy. I have put penetrating fluid over this because we know what earth points are like. It's only a thin bit of metal, this is, to be fair, this tray, which is why they rot out so badly. I'm quite pleased that this is in such good condition. So just take this bolt out. Oh, come on. Honestly, doesn't want to come out now. It's like, no, I'm perfectly fine staying in today. I've been in this spot for 34 years. I don't intend to give it up. Oh, you're coming out. I am a bit surprised about how easy this is coming apart, because I don't think half of this has been apart in 34 years. And I've got to be honest with you, Focus Mark 1s are not that old compared to these in some respects. And everything just snaps. Literally. The quality of the bolts, the threads, everything is not great. I think you can see where certain cars have cheapened, but this is a very simple car, you know, twist beam rear suspension with Matheson struts at the front with just, you know, simple bottom arms. Oh, we've got a washer as well. We've got a tab washer, so I'll put that back in with the bolt. I don't want the bolt going missing, so again, keep the bolt in place. Thank you very much, Andrew. Okay, right, now that's free. Now we've got this bolt here. Okay, that's a 15mm. I can just tell these things, guys. Experience. I might have to, I think we can get away with 15, 16, 15. Get one of these. If you've not got one, Halford's 200 piece set. It comes with everything you could possibly need. Sorry for my camera jerkiness, but oh no, it's not a 15. It's not a 15. Andrew has got it wrong. I've got a feeling it was either 16 or 17. I'll take both. Ideally, that is what I should be doing. Oh, it's a 17. 17, right. 17 with a 3/4. Now this might require my hammer. So just put it in. So, yep, that definitely requires my hammer. Persuasion. Oh, it's gone. There we are. Felt that. There we go. Persuasion works. That's always, it's always a very tight earth point. There we go. And again, to prevent shearing, because you don't want that shearing in the block. Although I dare say these are also threaded as well if you shear one. That's a really good thing on this gearbox. The casing is slightly different to Beatrix's. Beatrix has got a bit more ribbing, which means that getting the dirt out from areas like this is a bit easy, well, a bit harder. See, easy on this, harder on that. There we go. Another earth connection. Now, that bolt, take that bolt out. Oh, it's raining again. It's decided to rain, which means I need to put this bolt back in and get every single one of these things inside before it hails down. Good. Right, so that's in there. We'll clean that earth point up a little bit on the inside. But really, honestly, we're getting to that point. You see this bracket down here? This is exactly what I was talking about in the other part. You can see it a bit more clearly now, thanks to this brake servo being in the way. This thing with the red cable, this is what we call the carb cable. The throttle cable is here. This is the throttle cable in my hand. It goes to the back part of the bracket. So the gas pedal operates on this bracket. This bracket turns and it operates the carb cable. And then you have this one. It also operates this cable. So this carb cable and this kick down cable both work at the same time. It should be adjusted so they both work at the same time. There is a test I could do to make sure that this is all in situ, but it's only when it's all sort of working. You can just tell that, I tell you what, the size of this gearbox compared with the manual gearbox, the BC, yeah, quite big, isn't it? It's quite a heavy lump, but actually for an automatic, very compact actually, I would say. But in this, it kind of actually makes the engine look small. Just saying. This gearbox was fitted to the 1.1, and it was fitted to the 1.1 in lower spec versions of the Mark III Fiesta, but I don't know if that engine really suited to the CVT. I think it had to be this, really. Right, good. Now, we might as well just continue this phase and get the rest of the starter motor out, including, there's one bolt there that we can actually do. Right. Now, the problem is I can't get, on this bottom bolt, I can't actually get a socket because, one, my extension won't reach because it hits that, and secondly, a short one is too stubby. And my 3/8 ratchet keeps stubbing against the gearbox casing. So basically I'm just going to go with this, and I'm just going to put a hammer at the bottom. Again, persuasion. Right, let's go. Ooh, this needs a bit of persuading. I did put penetrating fluid on this. I'm just going to come round here. Right. Make sure it's nice and on. Oh, that's it. Gone, gone, gone. Oh, lovely. So you will need to keep your fingers on that in this sort of situation, because otherwise I can't really. That's it. Oh, I love ratchet spanners. Don't you love ratchet spanners? Best invention ever. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm going to leave that in, and we're going to go to the other one right at the bottom. Loosey loosey. Brilliant. Oh, this is great. Right, that's the bottom bolt back out. Just gonna take this out with one hand. Well, I can't physically do it with one hand. I'll cut back. It's out. Starter ready to fall off. Oh. Okay. Dirty. It will do. It will be good to clean this up. Oh. We've got the sticker on it. I've got to get this round. That is the original parts number. Oh, that's such a nice sticker. I'll try and look after that. As I say, I'm going to give this a bit of a clean up. I don't think I'll paint it, obviously, but I want to see what the brushes are like at the end cap. The brushes are located at the end. It's a standard starter. It's nothing that I'm not familiar with. So we've got a great gaping hole in the side of the engine. And that is the flywheel, but the drive plate is sort of behind it. Fantastic. Lovely. You have a lot of access there. It's drying up quite nicely. We've done a lot of degreasing in places, but this will help me just to see everything a bit more. The under tray is quite dirty underneath. Yeah, I'm going to take bits and pieces out like that, but overall, very good. It's as stripped on this side as it can be, apart from Monsieur. Now, I'm just going to... The car cover is in the way. Just get a bit of lighting. We've taken the connections off, so we've got the earth and the positive connections off, the positive and the earth. All it's held on by is one bolt there where my finger is, and there's another bolt on the underside. They look like 10mm bolts. I'll take them out easy enough. Now, strange enough, I can't get that ring on that bolt because there's some sticky out security thing. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. It seems to have cracked off nice and easy. Just keep rotating it. There we go. That blasted bottom bolt, I've had to go and get my tiny 1/4-inch spanner with my 10-inch extended socket. Oh, just about. You have to navigate all these brake pipes all over the place, and my phone is currently resting against the rear proportioning valves. They're basic anti-lock valves that you get on non-ABS cars. They're absolutely rubbish. They're not ABS. They're nowhere near the standard. But you kind of get them as standard on non-ABS models. 80s, 90s, noughties. Right. I'll continue to take this out, and then the top one can come back out. Done. That nut, just put that nut up there, thank you, and get this out. Oh, the wires are blooming. Right, I've got to cut that off because I don't want that in there. Right, we can have a better look at that in a second. I just need to cut that wire off to release the wiring. That there, because you've got one clamp there, you've got a plastic piece that separates the two, and we just want to loosen this one. There we go. Oh, that's better. Right, good. That is main feed pipe towards the inlet, and I'll just take the rest of the assembly out. There we go. Done. Done. That is another pipe. Okay. Well, sooner or later I've half the engine in my flat. But that's the idea. I mean, there's a bit of crustiness here where we've got the engine mounting at the back, but I wouldn't say that's bad. I will get some penetrating fluid on that. Actually, I'll actually do it now just to clean the threads up. I'll just put some WD-40 on there. It's probably the rustiest thing I've seen in that engine bay, because this is the thing. Water goes from the scuttle and it comes down here into this area, so it basically rots the bloody bolt, but it's supposed to exit eventually through this hole and then down. I've seen the way water runs through this car. It kind of goes through the scuttle and it just keeps going down at the end, so all the water sort of spills down the back panel. No wonder these cars rotted out badly. The waterways are not very good at all. But we've started to see things look a lot better now. It's all going to get cleaned, probably off camera. But I'm going to leave that bathing in WD-40 now. Absolutely cracking. Now, realistically, those are the main hoses out the way, and it allows me a good chance to actually see everything else. This choke cable is doing my head in, but it will be changed. Now, we have got an evap hose, which I'm gonna slide off. Now, there's a little T-piece at the bottom of the carb, so just slide that off, and then you've got this section here. I'm literally just going to get my fingers. It's one of these stupid little... There we go. and just pull this. It needs to go a bit of a twist, this one. In fact, I think I might need a screwdriver. Break that seal. It is actually, this hose isn't in as good a condition as the others, but I just want to make sure that all these hoses are clean. There we go, it's just broken off. Right, again, breather hose over there, that'll be clean. I've got a feeling it's not a, I thought that wasn't a 10mm then, but that's turning very nice and easily, or maybe not. The whole thing's turning. There we go, nice and gently. That feels quite nice actually. So it's just threaded into the back of this engine mount, well, the engine hoist bracket anyway. So just take this out, and I'm going to move the cable. Now I've got a couple of things here. So main thing is we've got this washer. Take the washer off. Okay, take the washer off and then take the bolt out. So what we're going to do, this bolt and washer are going to go back on that bracket. So just, oh dearie me, just holding the camera. Yeah, so don't lose time. Put the other bolt back in for the coolant bottle, by the way, just before you think, oh, he hasn't put that bolt back in. There we go, thread it back in by hand, really nice. And then this one should just, this is still a bit stiff, but there's a bit of green corrosion over this, but all good at the moment. Again, as you can see, we've got the bolt, the earth cable, and then a washer, like a spring washer underneath. So just, excuse me, putting them back on. So I'm putting them back on together. We just want it back in there. I'm not particularly happy with this earth point as well. That's going to be done. We can take the cable out. Oh, it's a little dinky thing. There is a little bit of green corrosion. Again, it's not clean. I'm not particularly happy with that either. It's all about making the car more reliable, and I always bang on about earth points. They really do make all the difference, even in a car like this with barely any electrics. But there are some electrics, and it will make reliability even better long term. But no, that's cracking. That's absolutely cracking. Now, what I might want to do, I am going to continually leave that dipstick out, but there's not much to see at the back of the engine, I'll tell you. This, by the way, I made a mistake. It's not cast iron, it's bloody cast aluminium. Cast aluminium, Andrew. I thought it was. Cast iron manifolds were the given thing at this time. Now, what I do want to do, for just argument's sake, is this heat shield. And as far as I'm aware, it's only these two bolts that are holding it on. What on earth could go wrong with these, do we wonder? On. Right, that's good enough to move them both. This is difficult. Oh, impact gun got one off, as you saw, but the other one, oh, we had to be careful. But it's coming. Both of them are coming off after a repeated manual hammering mode has been set. I want to take this off so I can clean the underside of the mess that the rocker cover has left. So I thought, yeah, might as well do this. Okay, jump. That's out as well. Not being sheared now. Wow. Wow, it's a bit of rust down there that I'll have to clear up. But look at this. They didn't make heat shields like this today, do they? They just make rubbish tin that just snaps around the studs. This is thick. That's one nice heat shield. I'm going to clear up that up as best as I can. Now the best thing to do as well is just put the bolts back into their little areas. I'm amazed that these didn't snap, to be fair. I took a risk with these, but I thought it was worth taking the risk. I am going to clean this exhaust manifold up a little bit. He's going to have a wire brush all on its own. Just to make things look tidy, this one doesn't want to go back in. There we go. Get it nice and square. Right, my phone is running out of battery. And that's probably a good reason, because as you can imagine, I think I've got a bit carried away. But I love the fact that you can properly see the engine. The CVH is quite a slim engine in some respects. Definitely an advancement over the old Kent Crossflow Valencia HSS, whatever you want to call it, Endurity. That version of the engine, the latest version, the Endurity, no good. It was kind of a missions related engine, and they did a good job with it, but keeping it going until 2002 was a bit of a stretch. They kept this going to 2004. It only outlived the engine it was meant to replace by 2 years. Ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to leave that here because I think next time we're going to take the alternator completely off. We're going to take that fan belt off. It's only adjusted with this bolt. And by the way, you call that tensioned? Oh yeah, tons of movements, way too slack. So we'll take the fan belt off. That looks actually new. That looks like something else that's been changed. Alternator is going to come off, and it'll make things a lot more simpler when it comes to actually doing the timing belt, which is what we're preparing for. The carburetor, we're going to detach everything related to the carburetor, choke, accelerator, you name it. We'll probably take the mechanical pump maybe out for access, maybe not. Probably just to get access to a few more hoses, and that's the main thing. We're just going to let it dry off. We're going to do a bit of degreasing underneath off camera, and just all around here. I mean, it does look a bit bubbly, but actually it's not crusty. It's only around the edge. It's just paint. It's literally just paint that's peeling off. So I'll try and make things look as nice as I possibly can, on a budget. We're not going to go AWOL. We're just going to clean it and see how good it will look with just cleaning, because I think that's what you guys want me to show you more than anything else. Is I've shown you how to do a car if you want it almost near concourse spec, as concourse as a daily driver that Beatrix is on the road there. This car is very original, and as much as I think sometimes I would like to sort of sort some of this out with these scabs, they're just scabs. They're not going to develop into anything bad from what I can see, because sometimes this misconception is that when rust like this starts occurring, you got to jump on it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, because rust can actually stop, believe it or not. It gets to a certain point where maybe there's a defect in the paint from the factory, it rusts, it goes browning. This is what I call 80s, 90s rust. This is pure, mainly 80s, where 80s cars just scab up. I think Austin Maestros spring to mind. They scab really badly. They can rust badly, but they can also scab really badly. But I'm very pleased it's come apart so nicely. It's like Lego. It's like Lego, and I don't think I'm going to have too many problems refitting it. Might need a bit of a faff, you know, trying to reroute all the wiring back in and then realise, oh, I've put something in before I should have. That always happens with when you're working on cars. But overall, I'm going to leave that here with you, and take care, and I will see you in the next part. Can't help myself, can I?